All right, so today we're going to talk about mitosis. But before we talk about mitosis, let's review what we talked about last time. So last time we talked about the cell cycle, which is divided into 3 different stages. So we have interphase, mitosis, and then cytokinesis. So the other day we talked about interphase. And interphase is the stage where the cell grows, it develops into a mature functioning cell. This is where the DNA is duplicated and the cell is ready for division. So then now, mitosis is the stage where the nucleus actually divides. And so there's 4 stages of mitosis. The 4 stages are prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. And then you can remember this is how I still remember it, is PMAT. So remember PMAT, and that's the order of the stages of mitosis. All right, so the first stage is prophase. This is the longest stage of mitosis. So this is when the cell's chromatin, it tightens or it condenses into chromosomes. And then a bridge of proteins begins to assemble into microtubules, which forms this fibrous structure called the mitotic spindle. And then the centrioles, they move to the opposite ends of the cell, and then the nuclear envelope disappears. The second stage of mitosis is called metaphase. Now, this is one of the shortest stages, and in this stage, chromosomes are going to be pulled to the center of the cell, and they are pulled there by motor proteins, and they're going to end up lining up on this imaginary line. Sometimes it's called the metaphase plate. Other times it's called the equator. Either of those names are completely fine. And then these spindle fibers, they attach to both the chromosomes and the centriole, and they're just going to help ensure that the new cells have accurate copies of the chromosomes. The third phase is called anaphase. So in this phase, the centromeres divide. Okay, remember the centromere is like the little piece that holds the 2 chromatids together. It's like the central part of the chromosome. So it's going to allow that chromosome to break up into sister chromatids. And then the spindle fibers, they're going to pull one set of chromatids to each pole. Okay. So then each daughter cell is going to get a set of chromosomes identical to the parent cell. And then at the end of anaphase, the chromosomes are going to keep on moving towards the poles of the cell, and then these move through the help of motor proteins. The final phase is called telophase. So this is the last stage of mitosis. So the chromosomes have arrived at the poles of the cell. The nuclear envelopes form around each set of chromosomes. Okay, so this side gets a nuclear envelope, that side gets a nuclear envelope. The mitotic spindle, all those fibers that used to be over here, those have all disassembled. And then the chromosomes, they're going to unwind and relax to just loose DNA. And at this stage, mitosis is complete. So the nuclear material, it has been divided from one nucleus into 2 separate nuclei. However, the process of cell division is not yet complete. Before we move on to cytokinesis, I just want to show you a picture of the whole process so far. So we have interphase. Okay, so this is when the cell is getting ready to divide. The DNA has been replicated. Then we start mitosis. So prophase, the chromosomes are going to condense. Okay, and the nuclear envelope is going to start to dissolve away. At metaphase, the chromosomes line up in the middle of the cell. In anaphase, the chromosomes, they pull apart into each sister chromatid. And in telophase, the nuclear envelope forms around each set of chromosomes, or now it's relaxed into just DNA. And then finally, that last step, we're going to talk about it on the next slide. It's cytokinesis, and so that's when the cells pinch off and you get 2 new daughter cells. All right, so the final stage of the cell cycle is cytokinesis. First, we're just going to talk about in animal cells. So in animal cells, the cell membrane is going to pinch in and it divides the cell in half. Okay, and then you get 2 new daughter cells. Cytokinesis divides the cytoplasm and the organelles. So then you have 2 brand new cells. They each have their own nucleus. They have all the cell organelles. The place where the membrane folds inward is called the cleavage furrow. And this occurs at the same time as anaphase and telophase. Okay, so this is like a very process, it's an ongoing process. So it's not as like rigid as the notes probably make it sound like it is. Cytokinesis in plants is a little bit different. So plants don't do cytokinesis. It's not that like they pinch off and completely separate. Instead, plants build a new cell wall. Okay, remember plants have that rigid cell wall. So after anaphase, you have them pulling apart. In telophase, you start to build a new cell wall. Okay, and then at the end you have 2 daughter cells, but they are 2 completely separate cells separated by a cell wall. So again, here's just another diagram of the cell cycle. Okay. So here we are in interphase. This is the G2 stage, so centrosomes are moving to the ends of the cell. Early prophase, the chromosomes, they're starting to condense. Our mitotic spindles are forming. Okay. By metaphase, here we're lining up in the center of the cell. Okay. Anaphase, they're pulling apart. By telophase, we have our nuclei back together, and then cytokinesis separates it, and then you go back to interphase. Okay, so it's a cell cycle. So your cells, most of them are this ongoing process of division, which is how you've gone from one single cell from where you started out to adulthood. You'll have about 37 trillion. Okay, so this is an ongoing cycle. The last thing I want to talk about is just something called cell differentiation. So each of us started as just one cell, but as our cells underwent mitosis and became more cells, they start to differentiate. And so differentiation is just the process by which cells specialize into different types. Okay? And by different types, think about your body. So your muscle cells are looking different than your nerve cells, and your nerve cells look different than your skin cells. So as mitosis continues and cells divide, cells start to become specialized. Okay? And cell differentiation happens as specific genes are either turned on or off. And so this just leads me to the idea of stem cells. So I know that's kind of a popular topic you might hear about every now and then in the news. And so I just want to take this moment just to introduce it. So stem cells are unspecialized cells. Okay, so these can still be developed into specialized cells as long as it's under the right conditions. Okay, so if you look at this diagram, here's our stem cell. It still has the potential to be a muscle cell or a blood cell or a nerve cell or a heart cell or a liver cell or an intestinal cell. And that is why a lot of science is interested in stem cells. So if you are having issues in any of your specialized cells, can we take stem cells and help make new healthy cells where you need them? Okay. So I know that's a popular topic happening in the world of science right now. So I just wanted to introduce it just so you're aware of what a stem cell actually is.